tusk of the wandering comet, I summon thee!
Final Fantasy XIII-2 goes a long way towards rectifying the woes set forth by its predecessor. However, along the way, it has lost many of the elements that made the original game good. Many gamers had issue with the original game's linearity. This has been addressed in Final Fantasy XIII-2 by opening up the world, giving players much more choice than ever before. The flip side of this is that Final Fantasy XIII-2 lacks the drive and focus of the original game's narrative. The first thing you'll notice when playing Final Fantasy XIII-2 is that your party has been stripped back to a very bare 2. The third slot in your battle formation is actually filled out by monsters that you capture by defeating them throughout the game. Similarities to Pokemon aside, this actually works very well in practice, giving you a vast range of different characters and abilities. While this adds to the tactical options available during a fight, it drastically reduces the amount of impact that the narrative has.
I'm really glad you're safe.
The narrative is driven by Sarah's search for lightning. That is basically all there is to it, and any emotional cues generally come from non-playable characters. Gameplay wise, very little has changed with Final Fantasy XIII-2. The paradigm system still works well and can lead to some really exciting battles later on in the game. However, if you were turned off by it in the original game, nothing here will change your mind. Graphically, very little has changed as well, although it is worth noting that the Xbox 360 version of the game is a vast improvement on the original. The game does play out in HD, and there is very little difference in quality between the two versions.
Told you how it works.
That's a gate? But why me?
Many of the classic staples of the Final Fantasy series have returned for Final Fantasy XIII-2. You can now interact with non-playable characters again, which often leads to side missions and quests. Random battle encounters are also back, although you still have the option to avoid confrontation completely. So, much has changed and much has stayed the same, but is Final Fantasy XIII-2 an improvement on the original? The simple answer to that is yes it is, but there is still a lot to be desired. The Final Fantasy series is known for having deep and enthralling stories, and that is criminally lacking here. However, that the series is looking towards its past for inspiration is certainly reassuring, and gives high hopes for a possible Final Fantasy XV.